Good evening and welcome to Tony's Tech Talk. This is episode 16, recorded on June 12th, 2014. I'm Tony Hannity's, and I will be your host for this evening. We have a number of topics to go over, but before we do that, I do want to kind of double back regarding what we talked about yesterday when it comes to the wireless charging units in Starbucks. Now, I went on record by saying that they were using the Qi, the more popular of the two competing standards, and unfortunately that's wrong. They're not using Qi. They're actually using, I think it's PMA, which is actually what I was right about Duracell. Duracell's Power Mats uses this other standard, and I think it's I forget what it stands for, but it's a completely different standard. It's not as popular as maybe Qi is, and so that's what they're using. And yeah, so now that we know that's the case, it's a shame, in my opinion, that that's what they're using. I'm sure there was some sort of monetary benefit because it's not as popular as Qi. It was a little bit cheaper for Starbucks to purchase the licenses and the physical devices to embed into their tables. I guess they had to buy new tables as well too. But you're cutting out a much larger portion of those individuals that do have wireless charging abilities by crippling them and saying, oh, you can only use this PMA enabled wireless charging. So it is what it is. So if you've got a PMA enabled device, I don't know which ones those are. I only know that Duracell, their power mats and their power shells use the PMA technology, but I don't know of any other cell phone manufacturer that has that embedded into their phone. So sorry. So yeah. Now this morning, fairly early, 6 o'clock Pacific Standard Time, was announced a brand new service from Amazon, ever so very well titled Amazon Prime Music. So essentially, this is available for your Prime subscribers. Right now, it is not available to anyone if you do not have a Prime membership. So if you were lucky to get a Prime membership for only $80 a year, kudos to you. If you were like me and you kept on putting off your renewal date and now you have to pay $100 a year, it's still not a terrible deal considering with the Prime membership you're getting over 1 million songs. You're also getting all these ebooks that you can share. You're getting Prime Video, which isn't as good as Netflix, but for free streaming video of certain episodes of certain shows, of all the HBO shows now that you don't have to have an HBO subscription, that's pretty darn cool. And it all is encompassed and packaged in with your existing Prime membership. This is available for desktop users as well as iOS and Android, and of course anybody that has the Kindle Fires. Now, later on this month, we're also expected to hear of a smartphone announcement. So this really ties into that ecosystem, wherein that before it went into what I thought, what is the whole purpose of having an Amazon smartphone? Well, this is just another reason to have it, because if you're already bought into the Amazon ecosystem and you're using Amazon payments, mobile payments, you're using their ebooks, you're using their video service, you're using their, I don't know if they have email, no, they don't have email, but I'm sure they'll maybe do email service, and now you have music. Here's the biggest caveat with the music side of it, though. They don't have everything. I mean, it does go into the same kind of mentality of when they launched Prime Video, where you could buy whatever downloadables that you want, but for the free streaming that is included in the Prime Video, there's not a humongous selection. For example, even in the Doctor Who selection, because I'm a big Whovian, if you will, they have some of the Christmas specials that you can watch for free. They have maybe some of the older, with the 10th Doctor. If you're not a Doctor Who fan, this doesn't matter to you. But they have some of the older 10th Doctor episodes. But still, within the same season, there are some episodes that you have to pay for. And I get it. It's if you're watching the episodes, oh, I want to see what's coming next. oh, I have to shell out $2 per episode. I don't want to do it, but I don't want to miss out, so I guess I'll go ahead and do it. It's the same thing that they're doing with music. Like you get a little bit of, if you want to listen to the next Beyonce track, for example. I know Universal is not on there, so UMG is not on there. So whoever is signed under UMG, you won't find it through the Prime service. However, you can still find it to download through Amazon Music. Because if you remember, Amazon still has a cloud music storage where you can store your music up in the cloud and then listen to it offline and everything. So right now, if you want to give it a shot, you don't have a Prime membership, you have 30 days to try it out. And you can try it on your desktop, you can try it out on your iOS device. An Android app is coming out, but it should be coming out soon. Now there are some critics. Obviously, I'm not a huge fan of this, but there are some critics out there saying that this is kind of it's kind of a downer, a letdown, because there's so many other music streaming services out there that Amazon would not go full force to the wall and say here's everything, because how else are we going to compete, especially with the Apple purchase of Beats. Now they have Apple and Beats Music streaming service. It's kind of hard. I mean, Beats isn't as good as it could be, but it's just it's such a competitive market. Amazon's going in there with only 1 foot in the door, not 2 feet forward. But the one thing that you need to understand, in my point of view, Amazon's not necessarily worried about competing in the streaming market. They just want to have a product. They just want to have something there that they're able to say, we have this. And because that's basically their mentality with their Amazon Prime videos. Like, we have Downton Abbey. No one else does. We have ebooks that you can share. No one else does. I mean, no one else, and no one else as good as us, maybe. We have this. We have that. We might not have everything like Netflix. We might not have everything like Spotify, but for one annual price, we give it to you, essentially. Who else can do that at this moment in time? So it's an interesting concept, if you will. And I have yet to renew my subscription to Amazon Prime, so I know I'm obviously going to be bumped up to the $99 annual price. But there are I do like the ability to cache and offline your songs, so you're not using data. Because I use way too much data. 16 gigs, man. I need to stop using data. So yeah, go ahead and try it out if you want to. Again, like I said, it's free to try it out if you're a Prime member. They give you 30 days for free to try it out. Even if you're not a Prime member, you just got to go to like Amazon.com/music or something like that. It's in the show. So go ahead and give it a shot. Let me know what you think. Next up, a real big announcement. A real big announcement from Samsung today. Essentially, they announced brand new tablets. And the thing is, Samsung just announced the Tablet Pro, or the Tab Pro, sorry, very, very recently. So this really seems kind of like, why would you do this? But here's the thing about these new tablets. These are called the Galaxy Tab S. It's what they call the flagship line. There's two variants of this. You have the 10.5-inch variant and the 8.4-inch variant. On Wi-Fi only, the 8-inch one is $399, and the 10-inch one is $499. And so really they are very much competing against the most recent version of the iPad. Also comparing this to the Tab Pro, these have an AMOLED screen. We haven't seen an AMOLED screen on a tablet for a very, very long time. The last AMOLED screen that we've seen on a tablet was the Galaxy Tab 7.7, which actually ended up not doing so well. So this is really nice, and if you've seen some of the videos online, Android Authority has a real good hands-on video on both tablets. And I don't know if the video camera that's recording the videos is giving its due diligence to its true nature, but the quality of the Super AMOLED display looks immaculate. Now, the full resolution on this, the full resolution on these, we're looking at something pretty impressive. It is 2560 by 1600 pixels, which is actually has 100 times better contrast ratio than a lot of the other tablets with LCDs. And the 8-inch tablet only weighs about 13.9 ounces, and the 10-inch tablet only weighs 1.02 pounds. In comparison, the Retina Mini tablet weighs at about 11 ounces and 1 pound for the MacBook Air. So this is really just right alongside physically competing. Now, the nice thing, too, is that when it comes to the feature set of the new tablets, the home key also has the fingerprint scanner. So you have the ability to have 8 different fingerprints on file, so you have multi-user sharing. That works for both tablets. Is an 8-megapixel camera on the rear, and then also I think it's a 2.1 megapixel camera on the front. And the nice thing about the rear camera, it has a flash. So it's not the greatest camera in the world, and we have so many different cameras out there. I mean, everybody has a better phone than a tablet camera, but to have a flash on a tablet, kind of rare, so it's kind of cool. I mean, I think Samsung was one of the first in this newer day and age to put flashes on the rear camera. So good on you, Samsung. It's really, really useful. This is running Android 4.4 KitKat with their version of TouchWiz and their new magazine UX user experience. So if you're not a fan of TouchWiz, I don't know exactly how you would feel about this. I mean, personally, with my Samsung Galaxy devices, I didn't mind TouchWiz. I did throw on a launcher on my Galaxy S3 recently, and I've just been using the launcher. It's a Nova launcher. But for the most part, I didn't mind the TouchWiz because, well, I mean, with Android, you can customize it and not really have to worry about TouchWiz so much. I really don't get why y'all are complaining so much. Anyways, that's neither here nor there. One thing that they were really pressing home was this new feature called SideSync 3.0. Now, SideSync isn't new to Samsung. SideSync has been around for as long as I've seen it, at least in Best Buys, for the last year or so. At least between a phone and your computer, you can actually, over USB, you can control your phone on your computer, which is kind of cool. Now, SideSync 3.0, you can actually control your Galaxy S5 on the tablets, whether you have the 8-inch or the 10-inch tablet. So essentially, over WiDi or Wi-Fi Direct, it would directly connect, and the screen of your phone will shut off, and then all the major operations of your phone will be done on your tablet. And essentially, on your tablet, we'll have a visual image of your phone. And every time in your phone, you can change what screen you're on, you can open up apps, you can look at notifications, you can answer text, and you can answer calls. And if the image of the phone gets in the way of what you're looking at on the tablet side, you can move it so it's no longer in your way. So I think that's kind of handy. There's been a number of times where I've had like my tablet with me, and my phone's been across the room. It's like, oh, I just heard I got a text message, but I don't want to get up. Or I just heard that I had some other notification, or like my alarm is beeping, and I don't want to get up because I'm lazy. But now with this SideSync, you'd be able to just turn off your notifications, or even, like I said, even make a phone call or a Google Hangout call or Skype call, whatever the case may be. You can do that all through SideSync, and that's all free. All the ports are pretty much the same. USB 3.0. It's got micro SD, supports up to 128 gigabytes. And some of the other cool things about this too is that you get, they actually partnered with Netflix. So when you use Netflix, the video quality is actually 1080p, which I guess up until now it hasn't been high def on the tablets. It's been like 720, which is coolio. But they'll get it up to 720p or I guess upscale it as much as they can. And some other things that they were showing off were the keyboards, like Logitech keyboards that are covers as well as keyboards. So kind of similar to this with the Surface tablet. So yeah, so you can protect your screen and have a keyboard at the same time. And so it was really an interesting move that they announced this so soon, as close to the other Galaxy Pros. And so the biggest update that you'll hear between this and the Galaxy Tab, or I guess the Tab Pros, Galaxy Tab Pros, I don't even know. So many names, Samsung. The Tab Pros and the Tab S line. So what the big upsell, the big difference is the screen quality. I mean, the processor is better, yes. It is lighter, it's thinner, has a new back, has the same rear back as it does with the Galaxy S5. But the one thing that they were really hitting home about was the quality of the screen. This is going to be the best viewing experience. The viewing angles are beautiful. Best viewing experience on this versus any other tablet that's out there. That's their words, not mine. And I contacted Samsung as I'm on their press list. So hopefully we can get one in studio here. Yes, I call this a studio. We can get one in studio here, and I'll do a much better review. In the meantime, if you want to go check out the hands-on reviews and impressions from Android Authority, I do highly recommend that. I just spent like about 10 minutes watching each of those videos, and I think his name is Joshua. Starts with a J. He does a very good job, very articulate, very well explained. I think I'm gonna steal some of his vocabulary and use it in my own. So cool job. But yeah. So what do you think? Do you think Samsung is just kind of doing what they've done in the past and throwing things against the wall and seeing what sticks and see what people are willing to spend and what they're willing to pay for and willing to wait for as well too? And that is another thing. You can pre-order this starting tomorrow, Friday the 13th, June 2014, and it should be in all the major like brick and mortar retailers like Best Buy in the coming month or so. So coolio on that. LTE models are going to be available later on this summer for like Verizon, Sprint, and AT&T. And though I know they said for Sprint also it would take advantage of the new Spark network, whatever that is. So I'm excited, to a certain degree. It's cool. I don't know exactly how many of the everyday users are going to feel about it, if they'll actually see the difference, but we'll see. Something else that came to pass today, which was kind of cool. I don't necessarily use this app too often, but considering that the Facebook app is kind of slowly but surely getting rid of functionality within messaging in the Facebook app, I re-downloaded the Facebook Messenger app, and as of today, there's a new feature that is kind of Snapchat-esque. So if you're not a Snapchat user, then you don't really know what I'm talking about. But one feature that they updated Snapchat to, which was kind of cool, was that you can just press a button, hold the screen, and immediately your video camera, the selfie video camera, that's what I'm calling it, the selfie video camera will turn on and it'll just show a video right away. Now you can change it, you can turn it around so you can show people like what you're looking at. But it was just like very quick. You don't have to do too much to start the video, and I guess it's also dependent on how fast your phone is, but the video camera will just boom, start recording, and you were good to go. Facebook is doing something very similar to that within the Facebook Messenger app. Not to be confused with their Slingshot app, because they haven't officially launched and announced the Slingshot app, and so it's a possibility that they'll have that in Slingshot as well, because it is kind of a like I was saying, a competitor to Snapchat to a certain degree. But if you've ever been in the situations in Facebook Messenger and you're like, well, let me show you a video, they did update it recently in the Facebook Messenger app, where you can add a pre-recorded video sharing. There's a button, and it just opens up your camera and the lower third of your phone. It was kind of cool. It's like, oh, I'm not getting rid of the conversation. I can still see the conversation, and then where the keyboard would be, that's replaced with the video viewfinder. So if you can't visualize what I'm talking about, let me just show this to you right here. This is on TechCrunch. So right there, so if you turn on the video camera, you see the video camera on the bottom third, and the upper 2/3 is the conversation between, I guess, you and Daniel Batter. So that was actually a really handy feature. Also, you can do that with still pictures, but it was like a two-step process. Now, apparently, this new feature that is rolling out to iOS and Android as we speak is more of a one-tap process, and you tap and hold to initiate the video, and it just starts taking the video. So, yeah, so I don't know if this would necessarily make me want to use Facebook Messenger any more so than I am right now, but it's a kind of handy feature. You know, if you do want to take a video, sometimes I do communicate with like my friends and family, and they'll be like, "Hey, can we see how your daughter's doing?" And with that, I'd have to like turn on the video and turn it around. Now it's just like, boom, there she is. She's good, you know. So that's cool. So good on you, Facebook, doing something right. Yeah. That's that. Also, in other news, if you're a fan of Crunchyroll, Crunchyroll is the streaming anime app where you can pretty much watch any popular or not so popular anime show that's available, as well as like Korean dramas and things like that. So if you're into the I don't want to do a whole like Asian culture, because it's Japanese as well as Korean, and I know there's some Chinese stuff in there, but they're mostly known for their Japanese animation. For example, a friend of mine said, because I got into a really cool show, in my opinion it was a cool show, called Sword Art Online, and it's only the first season on Netflix, and I thought, okay, well that's it. There's only one season, and my friend said, no, there's actually a movie after that you can watch for free on Crunchyroll. And Crunchyroll also just updated their app to offer in Chromecast streaming. So I watched the movie through Chromecast on my TV, and now they actually just acquired a video discovery startup called Redux. Now Redux has been around for a little bit, and I think it's since 2007. And essentially what they do, they help you as the viewer discover other videos. So they actually partnered with Samsung, Sony, and LG to be embedded into the TVs. They're also on the Sony PlayStation 3. And if you're watching a certain video and another video, and then basically Redux kind of uses their algorithm to say, hey, you tend to like fail videos, so here's a fail video, or here's another kind of recommendation that we think that you would enjoy. The fact that Crunchyroll is buying them, it is going to limit Redux to, I guess, only recommend other anime, Korean drama shows, and things of that nature. But if you're a Crunchyroll user, this is going to be quite useful. Because here's the thing, like, I'm not very good about just looking at a show based off their title, based off of the synopsis, and giving it the just having faith that it's going to be any good. I mean, sometimes Netflix says, "Oh, based off the fact that you watched all these anime shows, maybe you'll like this anime show." Like, what was the one I just last watched? I don't even know. That was a good one too. I can't remember it. Anyway, so they'll say, okay, you watched all these animes. Now you should watch this one based off of your last like 5 shows. And sometimes it's right, sometimes it's wrong. Redux supposedly is going to be much better, and this will allow you to find other shows that you may or may not have even thought about beforehand. So one thing Crunchyroll does not do, and maybe this is dependent on what show it is, but they don't dub. So if you're planning on watching like Sword Art Online and you want to hear the English dub of it, you won't. It's Japanese with English subtitles, which is fine. I think it's cool, and you get to hear the actual original voice actors and give them their due. And yeah, they do a pretty good job. So yeah, Crunchyroll buys Redux, and that's very, very cool. Last but not least, Google, because we gotta throw in another Google story. Because, it's Google. Google supposedly is working on a new health service called Google Fit. Now, Google did Google Health way back when. I forget what it was, and it didn't really catch on. And according to some people familiar with the matter, they said basically it didn't really catch on because consumers don't want to aggregate their data. They don't want to have to. They just want the information. They just want to hear, okay, here's all this stuff. What does this mean about my health? They just want the end result. They don't want to have to necessarily do it and make it all make sense. They want Google to make sense of it and just give the answer. So supposedly, there's a new, I guess, platform, if you will, and it's called Google Fit, and it's I'm assuming, going to work alongside of Android Wear. It's a possibility that because they're calling it Google Fit, that there's no Android, I guess, remnants in it whatsoever. It might be Chromium based. And I don't know. I don't know what they're basing it on. But sources close to the matter say that it will be announced at Google I/O in about 2 weeks, and it's going to, in a sense, be a competitor to Apple's most recent announcement of HealthKit. So it's going to be a framework. It's going to be a platform, and so you would be allowed to use third-party wearables like a Nike Fuel Band if they are still around, the Fitbit. I'm assuming, I'm sure they would allow no, that wouldn't make sense. But any other kind of wearable that tracks your fitness and things like that. Maybe even the Samsung Sammy that was announced about a week or so ago, the event that I went to. And instead of having to go to 3 or 4 different apps, seeing how many steps you took, see how many calories you lost, see how many, what your not blood type, but your blood pressure and your heart rate was, 3 different apps, you'd just be just one app, and it'll be through Google Fit. So that's pretty much all we know as of this right now. They're going to aggregate its data through open APIs. And they're going to announce some partnerships as well too, because one thing that really kind of solidifies these is that they have partners with other OEMs, ODMs, as well as hopefully hospitals, colleges, people in the medical field where fitness and health tracking is very, very, very important. So this is cool. I hope it is real. I hope it does happen. And we will definitely find out in about 2 weeks from now. So that's pretty much it. I'm not going to do a summary because I looked back and summaries were why bother. So let's do one last check in the Q&A. Nothing today. Cool, no problem. All right, guys. Well, that's pretty much it. I won't be back tomorrow. Friday is essentially a day off. Yeah, thanks a lot for stopping by, and we will probably see you on Monday. Sounds good. Have a good weekend. We'll talk to you then. Bye-bye.